Hi all, Martyn the Flicking Feathers again today. I'm tying this very simple egg sucking leech pattern. It's a fly that works really well for me in the spring here in Japan for targeting carp and barbel. As they both species spawn, they sort of feed on each other's eggs, you know. But I mean, it works all year, and it's not just those two species. You catch trout on it, you'll catch bass on it. You can fish it in still waters as well as rivers. It's really effective, and it's an easy tie. As always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anybody that wants to support the channel, get access to the members only content, as well as the Zoom tie-in sessions, and be entered into the giveaways. You can also just subscribe, hit the bell button below so you get notified of the new videos. That's all appreciated. So I've got my hook and my vise. This is a size 6 TMCO 708. It's this sort of straight eye jig hook, and I'm running on some .015 lead, and I'm running it basically half a shank, and then, or half the straight section of the shank. I'm going to come around the jig section, and then when I hook the eye back for the end, I'll come back and come up about the quarter of the length of the straight shank or so. I mean, it's no super critical, but you want them to be roughly the same. I would also say, if you're tying it for still waters, you don't necessarily need this much lead, and if you're fishing slightly deeper rivers or whatever, you might want a bit more. Just adjust it. I'll certainly carry these with more lead than this on them, but I don't really carry them with any less most of the time. I'm starting some Uni 80 in orange, fire orange, and I'm just going to put a bit of super glue in over the lead and onto the thread wraps, and then I'll just come back over it, just sort of secure all the lead, get a nice base of thread in. You can even sort of smooth out that bump if you like. And I'll come back to where the barb was before I crushed it, and then I'm going to get my tail material, which is just the Simi seal dubbing in this case, kind of golden olive colour, or a light olive. Tell you the actual name of it. Oh, it's just olive, it's just a standard olive. I'm going to align the fibres, just be pulling the dubbing through itself a couple of times, and you'll see you end up with a sort of bunch that's with a reasonable wee taper, and it'll be reasonably aligned. I'm going to tie this in as the tail, about the length of the shank, and I mean the whole shank up, including the bend. And I'll fold back the waist there and just tie over it to lock this stuff in, and then I'll just run my fingers through it and I'll take out any loose fibres. You know, there might be some shorter dubbing fibres that are not actually mixed through. And I'll get my rib material, which in this case is just Midge size D rib. Now I tie it in with the round side against the hook so that the round side's up, but honestly it doesn't matter. The fish really do not care. And the body I'm just going to make with the same dubbing as I used for the tail. Now you don't need to use Simi seal, SLF works great. Any sort of long shaggy dubbing, laser dub's good. You can also use I don't know, TMCO pellet dub, I like that as well sometimes. And as long as it's sort of shaggy and long from staple, it's fine. And I'm just dubbing it on. I'm not using a loop because I don't want it to be as heavy as you would on like a balanced leech for a still water. Right. I want this to get down relatively well. So I'm going for a less dense, less shaggy body. Colour wise, I mean this is olive, but like brown, dark brown, tan, and olive I like best. I don't do so well in black, but I think that's location really. I'm sure in a lot of places black will be an absolute killer. Depending on the sort of local species of leech. Most of the leeches around here seem to be this sort of olivey brown. But experiment, suit yourself. Just make sure I'm getting dubbed all the way up. It's maybe slightly thicker at the front, but I don't think that's super crucial. And I'm just going to take this rib material up. Open turns, evenly spaced. You'll probably get half a dozen or so, maybe 7 up the body. Just get that locked in. Trim away the waist. Now I've put a wee half hitch in because I'm going to brush this section of the body now. It's just in case I catch the thread. The reason I like to brush it at the moment is just to stop myself from catching the dubbed egg section. Right. Bringing this out all the way around on every side of the hook. That's fine. And then what I like to do is just roll it, just to get an idea of how it's got to sit. And that's not bad, that's fine. You know, in the current, well, it will depend, but in the current, when it's dead drifting, it'll probably kind of puff up a wee bit like this. Or maybe as much as that, but it'll still be moving. But then, once it comes under a bit of tension and the fly's been drawn by the eye, it does sort of slick back, especially if it turns to be facing into the current, or if it's just sitting in the bottom, right? I mean, it will sink with the head upstream if you're fishing it sort of across and down, just because that's where the drag is from the leader. Now the egg section, I'm just using EP shrimp dub in hot orange. You can use any egg colour that you like. I find orange and the cheese colour, I think it's called, to be very good. And if you're using egg yarn, as long as you've got the colour, the material's not that important. I often chop up egg yarn and use it, but this is just on my desk and I use it. It's something I've used in the past, you know, it's all I want's the colour really. I've dubbed that wee ball and I'm just sweep it in back and get my thread in front. Put in 2 whip finishes because it's going to be bouncing along the riverbed. I mean, the weird thing is, I fish this where there probably aren't leeches a lot of the time, you know, like in riffles and stuff, or coming out of a riffle, rather than sort of slower water. But man, the barbel in particular love eating it, and the takes can be quite savage at times. But that's the fly done. I've trimmed off any shaggy bits or any too shaggy bits of orange, but it doesn't matter really. The last thing is just to put a bit of head cement on here. I just brush it across the eye, let it flood into the eye and soak into the knots, and then just clean your eye. You know, if you don't do that, you'll just need to stick a pin through it in the river or a hook point. But there you go. That's this very simple egg sucking leech. It's a real fish catcher, as I say, not just the rivers. I mean, I do use it, particularly in the spring, but I use it all year. It catches me plenty of fish. So, I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. Headlines, guys. Bye.